Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought I would share with you guys some book recommendations. This will not include any Sarah J Maas books because honestly I feel like they're always recommended and maybe overly recommended. Don't get me wrong, I love the ACOTAR series, I love Throne of Glass. Crescent City, I'm still kind of on the fence about. Okay, you gotta sit down, okay? So I'm not gonna recommend any of those. What are you doing, child? What are you doing? Silly girl. So I'm just gonna recommend some books or series that I just feel like you should read. And yeah. So I got a pile here, so let's just go right through it. And these are just going to be random. They're not going to be all like fantasy. Some may be sci-fi. I'm trying to think what all I have in here. But I will explain all that as I get into them and whatnot. So, also, I'm sorry if you hear my voice crack here and there. I'm still kind of getting rid of this like cold that I've had. So, it's been a struggle, honestly. So let's just get into these books. So the first book I'm going to recommend to you guys is The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. This book honestly is one of my favorites. I feel like it's also very underrated. It follows a princess who is running away from the prince that she's supposed to be marrying. But while she's on the run, she's also being followed by an assassin that's meant to kill her. So throughout this book, you don't know which one is the prince and you don't know which one is the assassin. Not until like close to the end. And then it's just like there's a lot of like twists and turns in this. And it's just so good, honestly. I thought the author did really well like making it a mystery so you didn't know like who is who. And I just found it really, really interesting. The audiobook is excellent. When I listen to it, it's a full cast audiobook, so I always like full cast audiobooks. Reminds me of old radio shows, and yes, I'm talking about old radio shows. I do like old radio shows, but definitely recommend. I loved it. It's fantasy. It's a princess running away from the throne. There's all kinds of it's a good book. It's a good book. Go see it. Go read it. I loved it. So, okay. So the next book I'm going to recommend is a sci-fi, and that is The Illuminae Files by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. Now, this book is so good. Just be patient. What? Do you need something to eat? Eat. Okay. I got to feed the child, and I will come back and talk about this book. Okay, I got the child something to eat, so let's talk about the Illuminae Files. So this book is a sci-fi, and it is so good. It follows two characters who are pretty much running away from their planet being attacked. So they get on this huge ship with an AI, and the AI ends up going crazy, and there's a lot. But one thing I do recommend about this book, it is set in multimedia formats. Okay, so for me, when I was just reading this, I had a really hard time grasping the story. For me, it was so enjoyable to listen to the audiobook and read along. The story in this, so good. There are 3 books in this series. They're right here. They are so good. They are amazing. I love this series. It's set in space. It has an artificial intelligence who goes crazy. I don't know what else to tell you. It's so much good. But they're on the run from bad people who are trying to kill them. So, read this book. If you like sci-fis, read this book. Read it and listen to it at the same time. It's so much more enjoyable that way. So, definitely recommend this one. And on that note, I will do another sci-fi book, and that is These Broken Stars. I don't know if anybody's ever heard about this book, but this is by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. So this follows our main character here, who is very much like daddy's little girl. She's been like, she's never had to do like anything. She's always had to just ask and things happen. She's very well off. And then of course we have the boy from the other side of the tracks who's very poor, had to work his whole life to get to where he's at. So they end up getting, like, they're aboard this ship. It's called the Icarus, and there something like catastrophic happens, like, and I can't remember. Oh yeah, it's yanked out of hyperspace and it plummets to this planet, and the only way for them to survive is to get into one of those like pods. You know, what do they call those things? Like, anyways, so the only people who survive this like catastrophic thing is these two people, and they get stranded on a planet. They don't know what's, like, they have no idea about this planet, and so they have to learn how to survive. So everybody else on this big huge ship has died. Like, I can't remember what happened. I think it blew up, but anyways, so they're the only two surviving people, and they have to survive on a new planet. It's so good, honestly. It is so, excuse me, it is so good. There are 3 books in the series, and each one follows like a different character from the books, but like they all entwine with the story. And at the end, in the final book, you finally realize like who's really behind this big catastrophic disaster, you know? So go check it out. Definitely recommend if you love sci-fi. These ones were so good. And I listened to these ones on audiobook too, and they are also a full cast audiobook. I love me a good full cast audiobook. So definitely recommend. Go check this one out if you like sci-fis. So the next one I want to recommend is actually an indie author, and it is Ingrid Seymour, A Prince So Cruel. This one actually gives me very much Cruel Prince vibes. It follows a girl who is human, and she is kidnapped from, and there's Fae. There's Fae in this book. There's nothing in this, baby. It's empty. See? Empty. You need a drink. It's in Mama's stuff. Drink break. Anyways, so it follows a girl who is a healer. She has healing powers, even though she's a human, and certain human can like go into the world of fairy at certain places, but they have to have like a pass and stuff. So humans and fairies live side by side in like their own separate worlds, but they know they exist. So it follows this girl who's a healer. She is gathering healing medicinal medicines and stuff in the Fae realm, and she gets kidnapped by a prince and the prince's bandits, and the prince falls into or turns into a beast at night. So it does give you like Beauty and the Beast vibes, but when you're reading it, it's very subtle Beauty and the Beast vibes, and it's like its own story. Like, it's so good. It's so good. But anyway, so she has to figure out how to break the curse and save them. And yeah, and there's different royalty courts. It's fantasy, it's fae, it's like it's really good. I really enjoyed it. There is a little bit of spice in this, not a whole lot. It, like, the whole book is not about spice. It honestly is more about the story, and that's what I love. Like, you can have a little bit of spice in there, that's fine, but it needs to be about a story. Like, it needs to have a plot. So this is so good. There's a lot of like twists and stuff I didn't see coming. There are 3 books in this series, and I have all 3 of them, and I definitely recommend. I've read the first one. I'm working on the second one, and then I haven't gotten to the third one yet, but I've read this one, and it's really good. I really enjoy it. Love it. Definitely recommend. So if you like Cruel Prince or ACOTAR, all that, give this one a go. So the next one that I'm going to talk about is For the Wolf by Hannah Witten. This one is so good. So there's this girl who, so in this world, there's the first daughter is always for the crown, and the second daughter is always for the wolf. So they sacrifice the second daughter to this wolf who supposedly keeps, you know, the curse back and whatnot. Anyways, so it follows a girl it follows the second daughter who is obviously for the wolf, and so it follows her, and she's going into this world, and there's a lot of actually new things that she didn't even know, and so good, dark brooded male, and there's so much in this book. It's hard to explain. The cover gives you like Little Red Riding Hood vibes, but as I was reading it, it kind of gave me Beauty and the Beast vibes, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. There's this book based on the second daughter, and then there's another book based on the first daughter, and I have not read that one yet, but I love this one. It's so good. So the world was really interesting and intriguing. There was a lot of like world building, but not too much where you're like, oh, this is so boring. There was a lot of mystery, intrigue, action, like, loved it. A lot of romance. There was some romance in here. There was no spice. Not that I know of. Can't remember. No, there was no spice in this. So good. Definitely love it. Definitely would recommend to you guys. Okay, so the next two I'm going to recommend are actually from Margaret Rogerson. Let's talk Margaret Rogerson. She is like so good at writing standalones, okay? Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson is amazing. Okay, so this one is definitely kind of like a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. But it follows a girl. Her name's Isabel. She's a painter, and she paints. There's fae and stuff in this book, just so you know. She paints for the fae, and like they don't have like money. Like the fae give like enchantments and stuff to humans and stuff. So human craft is very desired by the fae. So she paints, and she's a very desired painter. So she ends up painting a portrait for the Autumn Prince, and she makes a mistake and paints eternal mortal sorrow in his eyes, and that is like big no because apparently you don't show weakness in this world. So she's ended up taken back to his kingdom to serve and be a prisoner, basically. But there's a lot of stuff that happens along the way. There's so much jam-packed into this little book, and the story was so good. Like, there's world building, but it built it so fast, and like it was so interesting, and the story just moved along. As you're reading it, you just get sucked in and you don't want to stop. I love this book. I read it quite a long time ago, so I think I want to pick it back up and read it again, but this one was so good. So intriguing. Definitely recommend this one if you like fantasy with like fae and stuff. Definitely would recommend. I know some people didn't like it, and then there are some people that do. I feel like this book is you either love it or you hate it. I don't feel like there's any in between for this book, but I loved it. I thought the story was beautifully written, and I love the characters, and the world was very interesting, and there's so much. I love this book. So good. Then Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson is also another good, a good standalone. I really enjoyed this book. So this book is about a girl who is, she works in a library working with like grimoires, and like grimoires in this world are like books that kind of like have powers and are kind of magicals, and there are things being stolen from these great libraries, and she's a daughter of, or a keeper of this library, and there's a sorcery, And they end up, like, she ended up having to run away because she was blamed for something that she didn't do. And so she's trying to clear her name. And she runs into this sorcerer who's also trying to uncover, like, what's going on. Do you want more? Okay. Hang on 1 second, guys. So, anyways, I'm back. Anyways, they band together to try to figure out what is going on to clear her name. And they find a lot of bad juju going down, but it is so good. It reads so quickly, but the world building is so good. It's so interesting. Like, I don't know how she does it. Like, she builds a world, but not in a boring way, in such an intriguing way that makes you want to keep reading. So good. Loved it. There was a lot of action throughout. My only thing is the ending kind of left you on a little bit of a cliffhanger. And, well, I should say it wasn't the actual ending, was it? Or was it the epilogue? I can't remember. Might have been the epilogue. Yes. Okay. So, it was in the epilogue. The epilogue left you wondering if there was going to be more. And she did come out with, like, a small little novella. So, that was nice because I was like, something happened big in the epilogue. And I'm like, don't do this to me. Don't. And I love, like, there's a character in here that can turn into a cat, and she calls him, like, Mr. Fuzzy Bottom or something. I forget what she calls him, but it's so funny. So definitely recommend this one if you're looking for another fantasy book, but not, like, if you don't want, like, a huge, long, like, series to get into. This one's a standalone. And it does have a novella if you want to read the novella. The novella is Mysteries of Thorn Manor. So that's the novella. So the next one I'm going to talk about is Daughter of the Pirate King. Can we talk about this book? This is by Trisha Levenseller. Okay, if you love a good, like, Pirates of the Caribbean type book, or Pirates of the Caribbean, you love those movies, like, you need to pick up this book. So this was described as a Lady Jack Sparrow. So this follows a girl who, she has a mission to steal a map off an enemy ship, and she is actually a captain of her own ship. She has a full crew of women. So I just think that's pretty cool. And obviously she's a woman herself. Like, okay. So we follow Alosa, who her mission is to steal a map off the enemy ship. In doing so, she gets herself captured. And there's obviously enemies to lovers in this. So good. Very quick read. I think I read this in, like, one day. Honestly, I sat down and I think I read it one day. So if you like a good pirate book, I would definitely recommend this one. Obviously, the title is kind of a spoiler to what's in the book, but I really loved it. Really enjoyed it. Love me a good pirate book. Definitely recommend. There is 2 in the series. It's a duology, but there is a spinoff coming out, and the spinoff is actually of one of the characters in this book that I absolutely loved, and I'm actually really excited about. Okay, so I'll be honest with you, spinoffs have never always really been my thing. Sometimes I try to get into a spinoff and I just can't. But I'm actually really excited about the spinoff because it's one of the main crewmates on her ship. It's her story, and was always intrigued about her story and wanted to know more about her story. So she's getting her own book, and I'm super excited. I've already pre-ordered it, just so you know. But, yeah. And I did order the new pretty ones. They're over here. Over here. The new pretty ones right there. But definitely recommend this book if you like a good pirate shindig, rondon, or whatever. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Definitely recommend. 5 out of 5. Okay, so the next one I'm going to talk about is Graceling by Kristen Conshore. This one is so good. It follows Katza, who is a little bit different of a character. She has been graced, and, like, in this world there are people who are graced by things, and she has been graced with like the natural like ability to like kill people. So she end up becomes the king's assassin, and she also has one silver eye and one gold eye, so that makes her a little bit different. So a lot of people like kind of stay away from her. Then there's a prince whose name is Poe, and his grace is the martial arts or combat skills. So they kind of band together because she's sent on a mission to kill somebody, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the way, and they find out some information, and like some things are not as they seem, and it's so good. Honestly, I really enjoyed this book. I need to finish the series. I have not finished the first. So this is a trilogy. There are 3 in this series, and then I think there's like a spin-off. I'm not exactly 100% sure, but I read the first book, loved it. I really need to read the rest. But this one is another really good fantasy series. It does give me like Throne of Glass vibes because it is following an assassin, a royal assassin. Selena was a royal assassin. So, but it's a lot different. It's really good. I definitely recommend this one if you like Throne of Glass. So the next one I'm going to recommend is Stalk and Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. This one's a little bit different. So this one we follow Audrey Rose, who is she is a intern in her uncle's what do they call it? She's basically learning to be a coroner and do autopsies and work with like dead bodies and stuff. What do they call that? Doesn't really say in here. But anyways, so she works with her uncle and her uncle's business. She's learning how to do forensic scientist, I think, or forensic pathologist. It's one of those, I think. Anyway, so she's learning from her uncle how to be a coroner and solve mysteries and stuff. So obviously there's Jack the Ripper out there that is killing prostitutes, and they're trying to solve the mystery and figure out who it is. And there's a lot of like twists and turns, and it's like, I love mystery, but this is like, it's not like based on facts. So this is like fantasy mystery, I guess, in a way you would say. So, but this story was so good. It left me on the edge of my seat. And I'm like trying to figure out like who it is, and didn't know until it got to the end. And I'm like, oh, so it is really good. But if you like a good mystery and you want a little extra fantasy thrown in, definitely recommend this one. Audrey Rose is witty and smart and snarky at times, and she is very much like, I don't take anything from anybody. And then of course there is the male romance love interest. His name is Thomas Cresswell, and he is like so freaking funny, but like he's like dirty, but he does it in such a way that is like, it's a gentlemanly way. It's weird. Like, it's not like, I don't know, it's not like immature. Like, it's very mature way. And it's so funny. He is so funny. He cracks me up. I love the series. I love the characters. Definitely recommend if you love a good fantasy mystery book series. Definitely recommend this one. It's so good. I'm actually currently listening to the last one on audiobook because I haven't ever finished the series. So good. Definitely recommend if you like a good fantasy mystery romance book. Okay, so last one I'm going to recommend, and I will probably forever recommend her book, Two by Fire by D.E. Carlson. This is my friend. She wrote a book, and it is amazing. So if you're fans of like ACOTAR, Sarah J Maas, like Crow Prince, Chronicles of Narnia, like there's so much to this book. Okay, so I'm not gonna just tell you guys to read it because it's my friend's book. No, I'm telling you to read it because I have read it and I have loved it. Like, it honestly, there's enemies to lovers, there's elemental magic in this book. So let me get you guys excited about this book. So this book follows Iris, who is a she can control fire, okay? So she's kind of like thrust into this world because a very bad thing happened. She end up, you know what, guys, I'm going to read you the little tagline that I actually helped write, okay? Not really write. She wrote it. I just gave her input. Okay. Iris is a frightened girl thrust into a foreign world by her own terrible mistake. Bashan is a crown prince of the Fire Empire who would rather tinker than assume the throne. Both are fated to save the world. Iris knows little of her past and less of her heritage, but she knows fire. It whispers to her, leaping at her urgent delight in her eyes. But then fire takes everything from her, and she learns her bloodline's terrible secret, her terrible secret. Because of her, the world is dying, but there is hope for them all if she can face her deepest fear, if she can master the fire. Guys, if I recommend one book to you guys, it should be this one. Like, this is the book everybody should read, okay? So if you like dragons, if you like fire elements, if you like fantasy, this is a book. So this is actually labeled as a YA fantasy Christian book, but it really reads like a regular YA book. Yes, there are several nods to the author's faith, but it's not like blatantly in your face, like I gotta shove it up your face. No, it's actually a very subtle nod, and it's just woven into the story so beautifully that if you do you want more? Yeah. Oh, do you want me to have the bowl? Thank you. Oh, I got popcorn in it. Do you want it? Anyways, if you like fantasy, I really think you would enjoy this book, even if it's labeled Christian. I feel like a lot of people think, oh, it's Christian, it's got to be boring. But that is not the case with this book. This book is not boring. There's so much in this book. There's world building, there's fantasy, there's dragons, there's enemies to lovers. And yet it is clean, so there's no like spice to it. But there's still passion in this book. There's still so much in this book. And I don't want you to discount it because it is a Christian YA fantasy. I think you should give it a try. Excuse me. I think you should give it a try regardless. But I really, really enjoyed it. It's a really good book. It reads very well. Very much like a YA, just a YA regular fantasy series. I think it should be on everybody's radar. Yeah. Loved it. Loved it. I actually am still reading it. I'm still like, I haven't finished it, but it's so good. So good. So, this is my last book recommendation. Go, and yes, I am wearing the Team Jason hoodie. This is the morally gray character in the book. And let me tell you, you need some morally gray character. Yeah. You need some Team Jason in your life. Enemies to lovers, dragons. I'm trying everything I can to get you convinced to read this book. So, I'm going to tell you, it's available in her Etsy shop. It's also available on Amazon. Go get it. You can get signed copies from her, also with some cute little swag. If you want, or you can just go on Amazon and buy yourself a paperback book, which I did because I support my friends' dreams. But definitely recommend going and checking this book out because I feel like everybody should read it. Everybody should give everybody's book a chance, and this is me asking you to give this book a chance because my friend is amazing and awesome, and I love her. But because the book is amazing. So that is all the book recommendations that I have for you today. I hope this was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was different, getting a recommendation that was not Sarah J Maas or Cruel Prince related. I know a lot of people recommend those books, so I was kind of trying to keep it to book series that not a lot of people recommend and not a lot of people hear about. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am going to go now. You're going to say goodbye. She's going to say goodbye. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in a new video very soon. Bye, guys.